piece of tape. We're going to start talking a lot more about it later on today. By the way, on a related note, the CEO of Live Golf, we with the judge on the half. You don't want to miss that interview at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. Stocks close to 1 month lows here as we're approaching 7,300. We'll get Mike Santoli at the desk in just a moment.
Guys, good morning, good afternoon to some of you. We're going to be discussing market updates. Yeah, we're going to start in a bit. Just give me a couple of minutes and we're going to be discussing market updates. Okay, just give me a sec. Yeah, amazing. Hope you are doing great. Let me remove that. Okay, I'm gonna move that. Perfect. Okay. Guys, consider sharing the stream. So it reaches more people. We're gonna kickstart. We did drop big time on most of the market, most of the names. Everything came back down. Yeah, weirdly, like we're still up on Aduro around 14-15%. We're up on Zevra. Zevra is still up, which is good, around 8%. So everything's down, probably like, yeah. Hood is down 81. Yeah, but still, I mean, guys, I want to tell you, first of all, the market is really pricing in the downturn. The market is really, yeah, Nike is holding strong. The market is pricing in a downturn. Is coming up. So we saw, and that's what I explained yesterday. When you see certain moves in the market and you see certain levels break, you kind of ask yourself, okay, what's next? Remember what we discussed on support levels on the Nasdaq, on QQQ, on the Dow. Those levels are basically materializing right now. It's not really, the market is not really, I would argue the market's not really down. It's crazy to say, but the market is not really down yet. Some stocks are dropping, yes, but Dow is still above 50. Remember, like 2 months ago, we were at 48, 47, and we were in a good position, and nothing changed since then. Like there's no major fundamental upgrade to numbers, to earnings, and we're coming into an earnings session that's pretty scary, because where is Nvidia going to get their $80 billion from? I mean, they're not going to get their $80 billion, right? Where are they going to get it from? I told you MSTR is going to go below 100, for example. I really do believe, and I'm confident that MSTR will drop below 100. on on a time frame of probably no more than 1 quarter, like maybe a month or a month and a half from now. Yeah, Apple is obviously disappointing. Tech stocks are shaving off profits from earlier in the day. Yeah, most of the stock market is sharply, like, is retracing. I wouldn't call it down. I mean, I'm waiting for CPI numbers tomorrow. I think those could be positive. I think those could be positive, to be honest. I think CPI numbers could give us, if nothing, they could give us some clarity on what's happening, what's going to happen in the market. Price in some movement when it comes to interest rate. Have clarity when it comes to interest rate. And remember, the more we delay dropping interest rates, the worse it becomes. I think if by September we have no clarity on interest rates, then irrespective if interest rates actually drop or not, we're not going to go back up. That's why I'm holding positions in Asian stocks and European stocks as a hedge from US market downturn, from a potential US market downturn. Bitcoin gave us the signal early on in the market, in the session, started dropping. I was wondering, why is Bitcoin dropping when the market is supposed to pump, when the market is supposed to be positive? And getting news on the conflict ending and World Cup, inflation, etc., space, all of these themes, and then retracing. And I shaved off part of my positions. Remember yesterday I shaved off 30% of my SLNH position. And that was pretty much at around 1.4, no, even more actually, 1.42, and it dropped all the way down to 1.26, went back up because a bunch of investors actually jumped in, pumped it up to 154, 155, which was the top, and then we dropped, and then we just snapped because the market overall dropped. Yeah. Let me know what position are you holding. Let me know what kind of position are you holding. Gold, I mean, gold, guys, is going to $4,095. I've already said it repeatedly, and no one wants to get convinced. I mean, and the problem is, the problem when I tell you something, I analyze the market for you, I give you the levels, and those levels are not magic. Those are levels that we study, numbers that we look at, data and reports that we look at. And when I said that, no one wanted to believe it. I was literally sitting with friends of mine. That was 3 months ago, maybe. I said, I do believe gold is going down. It was 5,400. We're sitting at 4,200. I would have saved them $1,000 per ounce. That's $1,000, right? MicroStrategy, 186. I told you guys I'm shorting. I have a put option on it. How clear can I be holding a put on a stock that I believe is going below 100? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how, sometimes you cannot be clear enough, maybe. I don't know, maybe. Meta down since Microsoft and Meta are down since I bought. Yeah, because both of them issued shares. Because both of them came out last week on Friday and said they were issuing new shares. And we learned Like we learned this so many times. When you are, just to explain to you something, when you issue new shares, you devaluate your current shareholders. It's just basic math. When you are that's something that you obviously that you cannot expect each and every time. However, that's something that potentially happens with stocks. When you have a number of shares, where is my freaking blue pen? Oh yeah, there it is. So when you issue, I'm gonna show you. So when you are working on 100 million, let's say Meta has 100 million shares, right? And then Meta comes out and says, hey, we're issuing more security. We're going to issue 20 million shares, right? That's a total of 120. That's the original supply. That's the overall supply. And so if you hold 1 out of 100 million, now you suddenly hold 1 over 120 million, which means that your stock price decreases. Why? Because Meta and most Mag 7 companies decided to issue new shares to basically raise capital because they need that for capital expenditure, which I believe is a fucking scam. I do believe that they do not need more capex; they just need to optimize their revenue streams, and which is something they're not doing. So, point of it is, I do think Microsoft has been hit hard. I still do think that Microsoft has some value up its sleeves. It can still manage. Just hang on a second. Sorry. Okay. So I do believe that Microsoft holds some value, but I do also believe that it's pretty dangerous right now. It's pretty dangerous right now to keep holding stock in tech. It's pretty dangerous. I'm holding themes that are pretty much what I believe is going to happen in the economy. You're going to need energy, so I'm holding energy. You're going to need pharma. I think pharma has a lot of unlock using AI, very underrated. I'm holding sports betting because I believe sports betting is only starting. A lot of people called the top on sports betting. I don't agree. I do believe that sports betting has a lot, like a lot more room to grow. I'm holding companies that are generating revenue and will keep on generating revenue. I do not believe that AI is gonna cancel each and every SaaS model, and it's gonna. And I'm looking for companies that have database, that have data, right? That can really filter data, specific data, and can manage specific data. When you look at the data that, for example, Twitter has, X, or Reddit, I mean, it's cool data. I mean, I know what people are talking about. That's really cool. But is it enough to say that this is monetizable data? I don't think so. It's not really monetizable. I mean, I would want to look for specific niche, industry-specific data that would potentially be monetizable. Like having, that core content in pharma, having that core content in medicine, having that core content in legal, having that core content in any niche industry is far more important than having just gross data. That's my yeah. Can you share What can you share? Oh yeah, Oclo and Soft and RGTI. I think QUBT is better. I share the comparison between RGTI and Qubit. I feel Qubit is much more consistent. Like I feel that Qubit has more, from a fundamental perspective, Qubit can perform better. But again, like I don't know. We'll see. The problem is with these things, right? Let me to explain to you. These are themes, for example, like quantum. It's a very important theme. Quantum is going to be part of whatever is happening in the future. That said, I mean, you need revenue streams, guys. You need revenue. Go back to basics. Go back to basics. Go back to basics. I mean, you need revenue streams. When I look at the company, when I told you guys, when I called Hood at 16, it's because I believed that there was a lot of revenue stream that could come in. When I'm calling right now, when I'm calling SLNH, for example, the only worry I have is dilution. From a fundamental perspective, I love the company. I just love the company. I do believe that the company has a lot of room to grow. And people might call it small cap, micro cap, shit stock. I don't care. I love the company. I do believe that the company has a lot of room to grow. My only worry is that it's sitting on a 500 million financing structure that could dilute the stock. And I asked their CEO when he went on a space, and I commented on his post, saying, what are you gonna do with your SEPA financing, right? What are you gonna do with your with your SEPA facility? If you're not familiar with what a SEPA facility is, basically it's kind of a credit line. So basically, if someone has a SEPA facility, what they can do is withdraw from a kind of a credit line to spend on growth, or to spend on their business, or to spend on opening up maybe another plant, or even for operations. That's the scary part. I mean, how much are you going to spend from that SEPA facility? Because what happens when you spend from that credit line? What happens is that this debt is convertible into shares. And when it's convertible into shares, if you look at how shareholding structure functions, if you are converting debt into stock, then you're diluting shareholders. So shareholders are kind of fucked, right? So that's my only worry with SLNH. This is why I have a starter position and I don't have a major position. That's exactly why, and that's why I trimmed 30% of my position yesterday, although after I trimmed, it went all the way back up to 155 today, but I wasn't, basically I was unhinged. Why was I unhinged? Because when I took the decision to offload 30% of my position, I took that trade, or I exited, because I did believe that the company could visit lower level, could kind of retest lower levels. 125, that 125 level is a very important support. It did not close above it on Friday, which was amazing, to be honest, again. If we go back down to 125, retest it, if we don't close below it, I'm max buying SLNH, because I do believe that it would be too cheap to miss out on. Why? Because even if there's a downturn, energy will still be, because logically, energy will still be in demand, right? If there's a downturn, let's try to analyze why would there be a downturn. I'm going to tell you why. there are 5 main reasons. There are 10 overall exhaustive reasons why there could be a downturn in the US market and in the overall market. 5 of them are basically major reasons. Number one, a conflict in the Gulf does not stop. Quite the opposite, it increases, right? Downturn, right? But then what happens with energy? Then energy pumps, right? What happens with companies that provide alternative energy for data centers, i.e. SLNH, building energy fields using wind technology, using solar, using cooling systems that are advanced cooling systems. All of those basically create interest. And what's going to happen when oil goes up? Well, guess what's going to happen? Obviously, companies like SLNH building energy are gonna keep growing. And all SLNH needs is one major contract with a hyperscaler or with a company that requires such level of energy, and we're good to go. And we're back above 223 and then 268 as a second level, right? That's one example. Going back to something even simpler, take Bumble, for example. When I told you guys I'm buying Bumble, it went up to 3.10. I think we pushed it, and then went back down. Today it's like sitting maybe 275. Am I worried about it? No, I'm not worried about it. Why? Because it's a company that's doing per quarter results that are comparable or that exceed its market cap per quarter. So it's doing in numbers what the market decided to value the company at, right? Why? Because I think the market is focused on a theme, which is AI, and they're forgetting to look at fundamentals for companies, fundamentals that are, in my opinion, extremely important when you're trying to anchor yourself into the market. You look at companies like major companies, like look at Google, for example. That's why I exited Google. I told you guys I exited Google nearly at 400. Someone asked me, is it a hold? I said, I'm not holding. Why am I not holding? Well, because I don't see the revenue. I don't see where the revenue is going to come from. I might be wrong. I don't know. I might be wrong. But when it comes to search, well, they have a big blow to Google Ads. There's a huge blow to Google Ads. They're going to have to embed their ads into the search system. But guess what? Why would I use Google's Gemini right now? Why would I use it if I can use alternatives that are running either ads free or with less ads? Why would I use it? Well, guess what? I wouldn't use it. Because I know that the choices that I'm being given, let's say I search for the best restaurant and the choices that I'm being given are paid choices. Well, guess what? It defeats the purpose of what AI is all about, which is curating the best information out there, the best data out there, and giving me my answer, right? It's just another search in a different UI. And do I want another search in a different UI? Well, I don't. One other thing I'm very excited and bullish about is robots. Do I believe that robots are going to be all over? 100%. 1,000%. Am I worried about my robot positions? Zero worry. You know why? Because demand's going to pick up. Whatever happens, even if there's the biggest crisis the world has ever seen, right? Even if there's the biggest crisis the world has ever seen, robots will never stop. Creation of robotics will never never stop. It, in fact, it will keep increasing at a pace never seen in human history. That's my opinion. That's what I think will happen. Yeah. So my point, the point I'm trying to make is when you choose a theme, energy, number one, do we believe that energy is not going to be in demand? Come on, guys. Come on. I mean, if you believe that energy is not going to be in demand, you're pretty much delusional right now. You're pretty delusional. There are protests that erupted in Venezuela today against the current regime. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Is it going to be a revolution, a revolt? Huh? Are they gonna jump and try to take power from Trump allies? It's complex. What if this happens? And what if oil stops being shipped, or literally we go back to to Maduro era, Maduro 2.0? What happens? Guess what? We have a problem. We have an energy problem, which is why energy is, there is no way that energy is not going to be at the epicenter, at the forefront, at the core of whatever is going to happen in the next 3 to 4 years, which is why you need to position yourself in energy. You could start with small positions, but again, companies that are into energy are extremely important. Extremely important. Now, when we talk about AI is extremely wide. There's no such thing as just AI. There was an AI trend back in 23, 24, even 25. Today, things are different. What we're looking for are bottlenecks. What we're looking for are positions we can literally hold and wait for, right? What I'm looking for is a position where I can feel comfortable knowing that if the market just goes down a bit, I know there's going to be demand for the product or the service that's being sold, right? This is why clearly and openly my positions are in robotics, are in photonics, are in energy, are in alternative energy, right? And businesses that generate big revenue that, in my opinion, cannot be just replaced using simple or existent AI. One other thing I'm really bullish about is quantum. But why am I bullish on quantum? Because I believe those companies that are going to be providing security solutions using quantum are going to win, are going to be winners, which is why Qubit is at the cornerstone of my quantum trade. Because I believe that Qubit can provide that security service, can be at the forefront of building quantum. And again, I share the comparison between Qubit and RGTI on my subscriber list. If you want to join my subscriber list, I would love to have you on board. I would appreciate you guys subscribing and supporting. And yeah, you can go to my profile. You can go under my profile. There's something called subscribe, and you could just subscribe to my subscriber list, and you can find the comparison I did on most of the metrics between Qubit and RGTI. I'm gonna do comparisons other than this comparison. Now let's move to the next phase and the rotation that we are witnessing right now, I do believe, guys, I do believe that the rotation is going to take us to Europe and Asia. I started accumulating Baba shares, Baidu shares. I'm still going to be accumulating those shares. They dropped from, I think I started buying at 131. It's at 120 right now. No, sorry, I bought at 140, sold at 143, then bought back at 136, and then bought back at 131. So technically my position started at 136. It's sitting at 120 right now, and it could go down to maybe 107. From a technical perspective, it can retrace back down to 107 and then go back up. But I do believe that companies like Baba and Baidu are solid hedges against any downturn that happens in the market. Any downturn that happens on US markets will benefit companies on the Asian market. Now they so Baba had to go through sanctions from the US government 2 days ago, yesterday, and this is why you saw it dropping below 120 to 117. That's pretty much temporary. At some point there's going to be some kind of lifting of the sanctions, and then that lifting will take us back to 130. Even if we don't see the lifting of the sanctions, I do believe that it will recuperate and just get back to the 130 level when people realize that if I want to rotate, I need to rotate to Asian companies. And what better Asian companies than actually the biggest Asian companies to actually rotate into? And so that's what's going to happen. Now, when it comes to the last point I want to mention, or the last kind of trend I want to talk about, is pharma. Pharma is a far, far bigger beast than many expect. I said it 2 years ago. It hasn't come yet. Time hasn't come yet. It will. It will. There is no way on earth pharma is not going to pick up. No way on earth it's not going to pick up. There is no way on earth. So to simplify for you guys, and I do share on a daily basis the positions and the things I'm taking and the things I'm going out of, but to simplify, right? I'm going to give you the names, and just it's not financial advice, I'm just sharing my thoughts. When it comes to financials, I prefer to bet on M&As, right? This is why I'm still in a stock called Webull, which dropped all the way from 13, 14, I think, to 5, kept DCAing, went down to below 5, DCA'd big time. My entry price right now is around 5.56, which puts me in profit. Although my first position purchased was at around $13. Like, just to tell you that sometimes you should not jump into a stock straight up. Sometimes you should have starter positions. And those starter positions enable you to get skin in the game without actually being unable to DCA, unable to organize your positions and your portfolio as you move forward. And I do that for myself. I mean, I like to organize my portfolio this way. I go into starter positions. Sometimes I do miss out on some profit. I don't care. I'm not trading the daily candles up and down. No. I'm holding positions I do believe in. I'm holding Webull, a position I do believe in. I'm holding Hood that I'm gonna sell if it goes back down below $79. If we go down and we close below $79, I'm selling my Hood position. I'm just being straight up. Why? Because I do believe it's gonna go back down to $64. Because I think the next level for Hood is gonna be $69. That's my thought. I do believe that if we break the 200-day at 79.02, we could go down and reclaim the $64 on Robinhood. So I'm gonna sell. I'm gonna sell. And it's not wrong. You have invalidation positions, invalidation levels, sorry, for positions. Whenever you're trading, there's something called an invalidation level. So sometimes you have a theory, right? I do have a theory on SLNH, for example. My invalidation level for SLNH is 0.87. At 0.87, I take my loss, I just dump it. I just dump it. Depending on what's happening in the market, if it's subject to this huge pressure that's coming out from the market without actually any news related to the company, then I might consider like keeping a small position or DCAing or whatever. But if not, I don't believe that. Like, I don't believe that I should just stick to the stock, whatever it is, at all, right? So in the financial sector, Robinhood, Interactive Brokers, and Webull are still positions that I like to have. When it comes to tech, to major tech, to big tech, if anything, I would want to still hold on the longer run. When it comes to majors, I would still want to hold Marvel. Sorry, just a second. Just give me a second, guys. Yeah. Sorry, guys, just a second. So Marvel is an interesting position. When it comes to the majors, Microsoft is still interesting. I do believe that Microsoft can be DCA'd on the downside. Microsoft has a lot of potential. Although, yeah, it did suffer from potential equity issuance. I don't think if they confirmed it, but I think it's a potential. Meta is at a weird spot right now because they need to get out, like they need to come out with anything that shows that they're going to remain relevant. They need to come out with something. Because if tomorrow we have any kind of competitor to WhatsApp, probably WhatsApp is cooked. Because the barrier to entry to building WhatsApp has become extremely low. The barrier to entry to actually building a social media platform has become extremely low. And what they have to rely on is their database, their distribution, their team, their execution, but they need to ship something. And so probably my invalidation level for Meta would be at around probably 540, to be honest. 540 would be my exit. I still have a small position in Meta. I do have a small position in Meta. Overall, CPI numbers are going to dictate what's going to happen. tomorrow, after tomorrow, but the market seems negative, seems down, right? We're kind of being drained on the downside. But then again, it's one of those days. On the flip side, on the positive side, we are up 10% on DraftKings. We are up over 20% on DraftKings since we got in. We are up on Zevra. We got in at 10.15, sorry. So ZVRA is up, is objectively up. Right? It's up like 20%. And we are up on most of the positions. Actually, we hold. Most of the positions are still in the positive, although they took a beat today. All right. Let me know what stocks are you guys holding, and if you have any questions. Let's take some questions, guys, because I'm tired. If we invest in great companies for the long term, what criteria should we use to decide when to sell? I think what you should use as a criteria, so you have 3 criteria to use, and you can note that, all of you guys. The first one, first criteria is how much do you expect the company to generate revenue from products that it has or will have in the future. And so in that sense, the first criteria would be, do we think that fundamentally the company is going to have increased revenue? And I don't want to talk about exponential revenue. I don't care about exponential revenue. If we look at NVIDIA, there are a lot of questions of where NVIDIA is getting their contracts from. Michael Berry shared the Valor contract. I don't know if you guys heard of it. Basically, what it says is, so NVIDIA signed a $5.4 billion contract to provide chips to a company called Valor. Turns out that Valor is it's a company that's potentially a company that's owned by NVIDIA. So it's selling its own company, which is an SPV, selling its own company chips that are being sent to Valor. Valor is leasing those chips to xAI, and xAI can use those chips basically to run its operations without actually paying for the chips. And that's a $5.4 billion contract that goes into the earnings of NVIDIA. And that's part of the 80 billion that they generated. And so there are a lot of question marks on that type of revenue specifically, right? So what the first criteria I would look for is, where is the revenue coming from? Number one. Number two, what is their experience in issuing new shares? Because if a company is a great company, as you said, if they're issuing new shares, well, obviously your shareholding value is getting wiped out. Why? Because there are more shares for the same price. So it's getting wiped out. It's effectively, objectively getting wiped out. So that's the second criteria. I would look for stock issuance, or I would look for warrants, debt, convertible debt that would turn into stocks that the company might have. What is the amount of that debt, and how does it impact the number of shares? All right, that's the second thing. And the third thing is, I would go technical and tell you to check invalidation levels. What are invalidation levels? Those are levels that are below, at least 20% below the 200-day moving average on the one day time frame. So you go on TradingView, you open up the chart for the company, you put the 1 day time frame, not 1 hour, not 4 hours, the 1 day time frame. You check the 200-day moving, and then you go 20% below it. Let's try it out with Meta, for example. Let's try it out with Meta. Let's see, Meta. I have literally no idea. I literally have not even checked it. So I'm gonna try it out with you guys. We're gonna see how it goes. Yeah, that's Meta. So if I go to Meta's chart, okay, and I go to the 1 day. Hang on. Yeah. Yeah. So we are trading below the 200-day moving right now. Yeah. For example, in this case, what you can do. Oh, you're not seeing my screen. Hang on. Sorry, guys. Okay, let me share my screen. There we go. There you go. So we're trading below. So you see that break? That break is below the 50-day moving. So we're trading below the 200-day moving. We're trading below the 50-day moving. Probably still going down, right? I would take, if I have the 50-day moving that's below the 200, I would go on the 200-day moving and go down by 20%. So I would go down by 20% on the price, which would put me probably at $500 on the. So if I'm here at 620, yeah, probably at $500, that would be my exit. Then I look at levels that we did not cross, that we retraced on. Go back on the 1 day. You can look at the chart, right? There we go. That's on a very wide time frame. The 520 level, where is it? Yeah, the 520 level or 521 level is a selling point, and then you've got the 477 level is a major selling point. We cross below that, we're kind of cooked. We're kind of cooked, guys. That's pretty much how you look at it. Oh, I wasn't sharing my screen, right? Serve still a hold. Yeah, but like definitely be ready to DCA, of course. Yeah, great. Okay, guys. Let me know if you have any other questions. That's what I was showing you, by the way. Yeah. I think I hold too much stocks. What are you holding? Serve, RR, Baba, Bull, SLNH, Bumble, Saidu. Saidu is not a hold.
What does your profitability roadmap look like? How far into the future under Live 2.0 will you be profitable? This will take 3 years.
Saidu could be risky because they have no revenue.
Like this raise is designed and designated against profitability.
Serve is good, RR is good, Baba is good, Bull is good, SLNH is good, Bumble is good. What stocks are you holding, Che? Let me know.
To what you're trying to do with a new league. The difference between our league and many others is that this is made for like this business plan was actually Bryce was involved in the design of the business plan.
Is GER still a hold?
Committed, but this is not about just about Bryce Nation, but who's the extraordinary star and one of the biggest stars.
I'm holding GER. My invalidation level for GER is gonna be 14. It's gonna be 14 for GER. My invalidation is gonna be 14. For now, I'm holding GER. Yeah.
Is local works like Cam Smith being from Australia having an Aussie team, and Louis Oosthuizen having a South African team.
That's why you guys always take profit. That's why I tell you, like, it's a learning experience for you because you always gotta take profit. Whatever happens, you always take profit. And there are levels. I already repeatedly told you guys, we up 30%, we take profit. I told Che to take out a third of his position in Eduro 2 hours ago. Since then, we dropped $1, right? We did drop $1, right? ASTI, Ionic, GER, QBTS, RGTI, Oust, Serve, Ondos, Hood, RR, SNNH, Netflix, Bumble, IBM, Google, Reddit, Zevra, Eduro. ASTI, I'm not sure why are you holding it, but yeah, it could pump. But I mean, it's a $70 million, $65 million market cap company. That has like a solid plan, but unless it's getting acquired for $300 million, then yeah, it could be a good position. Otherwise, it's gonna keep dumping, go back down to four or five. From a fundamental perspective, it started at $1, so yeah, but still, I mean, if you're betting on an acquisition post IPO, then yes, then that could be a good thing. We could go from $6 to $25 in what, 2 sessions, 3 sessions? I don't know. Ionic, we called it in March. We should have taken profit by now. It's been quite long on Ionic. It was a trend, it was a theme. GER invalidation is at 14. QBTS, no idea. RGTI, again, I shared the comparison between RGTI and Qubit. I prefer Qubit. Oust, I haven't checked it yet. I don't know. Serve is a position I'm holding long. I think the robotics team is gonna be a solid team. Ondos is quite solid with a retracement. Hood 79 is a sell. Otherwise, we're going back to 100. RR same as Serve. SLNH, I already explained it. Netflix, I'm holding Netflix. Bumble, I'm holding Bumble. IBM, I'm holding IBM. Google, I'm not holding Google. Reddit, I'm holding a small position in Reddit, but I don't. I mean, it could go above 200, but it does not have a lot of margin to move right now. They have an issue with their revenue, but we'll see how it goes. Although they had amazing revenue, but like, and then Zevra, you should be up on it. Aduro, you should be up on it.
Here's the president's statement in full. It says, I have just been informed by a great military that last night the Iranians shot down one of our highly sophisticated Apache helicopters while patrolling over the Strait of Hormuz. There were 2 pilots involved. Both are safe and uninjured. Nevertheless, the United States must, of necessity, respond to this attack.
There we go. There we go. I hope it clarifies things for you. And again, is drafting Silco hold? Still a hold. Guys, we don't change positions on a daily basis. What do you mean it's still a hold? We've been holding for like the past 2 months. Apple is a good entry. I'm not going, no, why is it a good entry? It's bullshit. If something goes down a bit, it does not mean it's a good entry, guys. You're just like missing the point. If you are trading, if something goes down, there's a reason why it went down. Did not go down just because it's an opportunity for you to buy. It went up from 260, 61, 65 to 315, and it disappointed. It cannot launch a lot of its products in Europe. It has no AI. It has no road to monetizing AI. No update on its Siri, although they shared like Siri shit, but like it's really not major. Why is it a good opportunity? No idea. If you know then maybe you know. I don't. I don't, to be honest. I don't. What about what? SoundHound. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Which one? Share it on Discord. Share it on Discord. Point of it is, guys, you need to calm down. You cannot jump from one stock to another. I mean, Che, I'm not sure what your portfolio is, but yeah, you do have a lot of stock. A lot of stock. I'm not sure how much is your portfolio. If your portfolio is less than $10,000, then you have a lot of stock. A lot. If it's less than 50 and you don't have 20% of your portfolio or 30% in cash, then it's a lot of stock. A lot. How much is your portfolio? Like in order of magnitude, is it 10? Is it 50? Is it 100? Is it 200? What should I trim even at loss? I have no idea what your portfolio. How much is the size of your portfolio? Like, I need to know how much is the size of your portfolio. What are you bringing into your portfolio? You have a lot of stock, bro. You have a lot of stock. A lot of stock. A lot. So those are the positions you have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 stocks in a portfolio that's. And how much do you have in cash in that portfolio? Sorry to ask. Che, how much do you have in cash? Or those 12K are in stock in full? That's an example for others to actually learn. You'll kill me, I know. Okay, you don't have cash. So you don't have cash. If I want to kill you, then you don't have cash. 0 cash. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Yeah. You have 18 stocks sitting in a 12K portfolio. What's your, like, how much do you think you're going to make? What's going to be your outcome? Right? You have to think. Again, sometimes guys, sometimes you have to take a step back and think what could be the potential, the best outcome that you might have in your portfolio, and what's the worst outcome. I really think it gives you clarity. Just hang on a second. Yeah, I do think it gives you clarity on how much. If you have a 12K portfolio, you should have at least 4K in cash. For at least 4K. At least. You don't have 4K. I mean, with all the positions I have 65% of my portfolio in cash. That's 65. I mean, I have a bigger portfolio, but still. In your case, well, you should trim. What positions are at a win? That's the question. You can transfer. That's wrong. No, you should not transfer. You should not transfer. I'm talking about the actual portfolio. The 20% in cash, bro, should be in IBKR part of your portfolio. It should not be something sitting outside waiting to be transferred. This is wrong. What is a winning position you have? Let me tell you, let me guide you on what are, like, if you have winning positions, do you have any positions that are in the green right now? Right now, like literally right now.
Prospective buyers come in, look at this market and say, you know what, AMD down another 10% today, or Micron down another 10. By the way, Micron's still up 15% over the last month, even with the weakness that's happened lately. Gotta believe that this
Let's see. Can we invest it in something instead of keeping it? Bonds, you can do bonds. Yeah, of course. You can do bonds, OG. You can definitely do bonds. Stocks near session lows. Aduro and Zevra. Yeah. So you could trim Aduro because the upside potential for Aduro is around $20, which is about 15% from here. So you could trim Aduro. You could trim Aduro. You could also trim Zevra because it stagnated at $10 for a while. It broke now to $13. Probably gonna hold at around between $13 and $14 for the time being. If there's pressure on the market, it could still suffer the same pressure. I'm like down 3% on everything. Yeah, which is why I'm telling you to trim, keep in cash, so you could come in at lower levels if you need to come in or jump into another position. And try to trim, like try to get to your $3,000 in cash in your portfolio, in the 12,000. I mean, even if you have to sell like maybe part of some other positions that are not at a loss or at par. If you're at par in some of the positions, try to just keep 30%. Bro, keep 30%. Trust me, you will feel much better. Feel much better, much more structured. Yeah, exactly. I shared my a few positions. I started sharing my positions on TradeField Pro. One day you said. Exactly. That's why I asked you which ones are in the green. I agree. Don't sell on a red day, of course. Again, that's why I asked you which ones are in the green. Because although it's a red day, Aduro is up 10% and Zevra is up 10%. I know what I said. That's exactly why I told you this. Because I told you check what it's, because if CPI disappoints tomorrow, we go back down even further. If CPI pops, then we can accelerate, and then you can jump back in. It's fine. If you miss out on a few cents, it's not going to be a huge problem for you. Got it, guys? Talk to you on Discord. Love you guys. Have an amazing evening, and thank you for tuning in. Cheers.